remember how long, guess I always been this way, running 90 miles a minute all night and day, doing things that'd kill a lesser man or get him locked up tight. Never meant to hurt nobody, no I ain't like that, just trying to make my way any way I can. There's a lot of folks out there wanna slow me down, make me act right.
I'm Hunter Jordan, I'm 20 years old. My car is John Gotti. It's a 93 Fox Body Mustang. I've had the car since I was about 13 or 14 years old, and I'm from Elizabethtown, Kentucky. My family and my background's from cars and car shows and stuff, and just something about the racing factor got me into it. I want to push things to the limits, and the racing factor is sort of what drew me to it. So, I mean, they're really I didn't have anyone that really influenced me into racing. It just sort of caught my attention more in car shows and car cruises and stuff like that did. So, when I first got the car, it was a 4-cylinder car. It had 76,000 original miles on it. The car was actually from Indiana, a college girl who had it, and then a buddy of mine bought it down here locally. And I seen the car at the shop one day. We were over there hanging out, picking up some parts for another project, and I asked him about it. I said, what would it cost to buy it? And he said, man, I really don't want to sell the car. And I was like, well, I've always wanted a Fox Body. And I said, this right here would be a great project car. It's a rust-free car. It didn't have no rust in the shock tires, which Fox Bodies are bad about. And I had to pester him for like 2 or 3 months to actually get him to sell it to me. Well, finally, when he priced it to me, I couldn't pull the money out of my pocket fast enough. That was when I first got it. I didn't own the car for probably 3 months. My dad left for work one morning, and the car was sitting in the garage, and I was like, I know what, today I'm making it a race car. And I took a pair of wire cutters, I cut the wiring harness off the car. I didn't unplug them, I just started cutting stuff. And then he came home from work at like 5:30, 6 o'clock, and I had the motor ready to come out of the car. And so there was really no turning back then. And then the car sat for probably 2 or 3 years just getting the funding for it to get started on it. Because I mean, at 13, you can't work a job, so it took me a while to get the funding to start actually working on it. The first generation of this car, it had a LS 5.3 base motor in it, rod piston combination. We sprayed a lot of nitrous to it, and I beat the crap out of it. And it was a fun car. I drove it to high school a couple times, cruised it around. It was just a fun car at that time. And then going into the 2020 season, at the very beginning of the season, I made 6 passes on that motor, and we ended up chucking a rod out the block of it. And that's when I had to realize what I wanted to do with the car. Did I want to sit here and not be real competitive in the racing field, or did I want to make the jump and be competitive, make a name for myself with it? So then I sold all my LS stuff, and now it's got a big block Chevy, 505-inch, built by Sam Murphy Racing Engines, Chris Gotti Power Glide transmission, and then Jordan Gray did the roll cage and a lot of the fabrication work on the car. And then other than that, I mounted the front end, I mounted the doors, put the wing on, put the parachute on it. I wired it, plumbed it. A lot of the stuff I did myself, but like putting the roll cage stuff in, we paid someone to do that for us. My first roll race was actually the very first time we ever took the car out, and that was when it had the LS motor in it. And US 60, one of our local tracks here, they have a class called Heads Up Pro Tree. I only made like 2 or 3 passes in the car during test and tune that day, and we hopped straight into it. And the car was only going like 690s or 70s, and all it was on motor. And we ended up going to the finals that day, and I knew going into the finals, I knew I had to tree the boy. And I cut a heck of a light on when I was probably out 2 or 3 cars on at the hit. He just outpowered me at the time. And then we took a step back, got some more seat time in the car, made most of the motor passes. Then we started spraying the LS motor in it. And then once you start spraying a nitrous car, you get addicted to it. You keep wanting to spray more and more to it all the time. And then after that, I really didn't get to race a whole lot that year because we started real late in the season. Probably some of the most memorable races was probably all from this season. Running with the whole Team Meatball crew, right there has been a dream, honestly. We all get along so great. But probably my most memorable race is so far has been Battle of the Berg, because going into that race, I didn't think I had a chance at all going past first round. We've been fighting issues with this car all year long, but it come up and want to drive left. And Thursday night before Battle of the Berg, we brought it in here, put it on the lift, realigned the whole car. And Friday at Battle of the Berg, we made 3 test passes. The first one, I had a bunch of power pull of the car because US 60 was scraped. Hadn't been rain on it for a couple weeks, so it was slick. Ended up blowing the tires off at one of the transitions. The second pass, we turned around, and I did my first real big wheelie. I had it almost on the parachute mount. And then the third pass, we went back, made a couple chassis tune-ups to it, and it went A to B, probably one of the fastest passes I've ever made before. And then going into Saturday, we felt real good about going into Saturday first round. We had a boy named Kevin Fields. I think he's from the Indianapolis area. He stood his up pretty high, and we managed to go A to B, and ended up going down to 7 cars at Balderberg. We raced a boy named Andrew Lavender in the quarterfinals, and me and him were neck and neck. And my car likes to start pulling right after the gear change. Well, the gear change and one of the transitions at Hardsburg are at the same exact spot. So I hit it, and the car made a move. It started blowing the tires off and started driving right. So I had to make the decision just to let out of it. That right there was probably one of the most memorable races. Just I didn't think I had a chance going in the first round.
So talking about first round, why is it every first round you're always real nervous and look like you're about to throw up?
I honestly don't know. Like, something about first round just don't. After first round, I'm fine, but like first round gets me every time. I think it's that factor of to me going out first round looks horrible on you, because I mean that right there is you can't even get past first round. At that point, hold on, let me reword that. I don't know. Going into first round, I can't really do it. Take the clip, edit it. I don't know why I get sick going into first round for it. I honestly can't tell you. It actually just started happening this year, so it's real weird. But I think it's one of the factors is you paid your $200, $250 entry fee into it, so you're already gonna be out that money if you go out first round. And I really my biggest factor is I don't want to drive to a racetrack and get put out first round and make one pass. I mean, that's my biggest thing. I wouldn't care to get put out round 2 or 3, or even get put out in the semifinals or the finals. That don't bother me. But getting put out first round just aggravates me. I don't know why. One of my friends, Jason Kerr, he got me in contact with him, and I knew Meatball was a really good friend of mine back when I was growing up, and I really didn't know Alan and Jeremy Thompson and all them, and Jason got me in contact with him. Well, one night at US 60, just on a regular testing 2 night, me and Alan ended up meeting each other in the staging lanes. So I had my car when it had the LS motor in it, and he had first just bought Butterface, and I think me and him we were both young, and we both had egos on us. So I was like, I'm gonna outrun him. Well, when I kicked the rod out of it is when I ran Alan. So we sort of had a connection after that. And then after talking to him, me and Alan, Alan, the whole crew have a really good click with each other. We all just work, and it's sort of like never ending tale after that. Because once we knew each other and we liked each other, I talk to him on a daily basis now. He's like a brother. So I mean, the motor's getting a new upper end on it. It's gonna get some profiler cylinder heads, new camshaft, new intake. Now I originally built this big block for it, where I was gonna still plan on street driving the car. Well, then things took a turn. I wanted to do more racing stuff with it, so I put all the lightweight front end on it, lightweight doors. Well, the camshaft and cylinder head are really too small for it. I've had small blocks with bigger camshafts in them, so that's one of my biggest factors this year is why we haven't been able to make the passes we wanted to with the car, where it's overpowering the camshaft. But it's going to get a new upper end in it, and then we're putting torque boxes in it this year, because we're at that point now, these torque boxes are starting to flex really bad. So the car's wanting to drive left or drive right, and it's sort of unpredictable.
One of our sponsors, Marty Merrill, makes some of the best torque boxes
in
the world.
I've actually been looking at that stuff. If things go good this weekend and we make that $20,000, I'll definitely be in contact with him, because that Black Friday sale's going on. I want to start off with Sam Murphy. He's always helped me out no matter what. He's always wanted to see me succeed with this car. He's one of the type of guys I can call him Thursday at 1, 2 o'clock in the morning and aggravate him all night long, and he'll get me parts the next day so I can fix it. Actually, this year at Turkey Bash, I hurt the cylinder head on it, and Sam Murphy's son, I called him. I said, "Is there any way you can deck my head for me today?" I said, "I already got it welded." He left work early and came and decked the head, so we go back to the track and make it for first round at Turkey Bash. But I definitely want to thank Sam Murphy Racing Engines, Chris Gotti, Done Right Auto Detailing, and Louisville Auto Syndicate. They've all helped me out this year big time as sponsors. Trey at Louisville Auto Syndicate, he did a lot of the number decals on the car this year, and he's going to do we're going to do not a whole wrap on the car this winter, but he's going to do a half wrap on it. We're going to have some new cool stuff coming out in the car next year. And then Done Right Auto Detailing, anytime I need my car detailed, need the race rig detailed, all I do is go give him a call. We were at my house one day and I had a buddy come over, and he's a lot older than I am. When me and him were talking, and he said, "You need to come up with a gangster name for this car." He goes, "Just what you're doing it with, it's gangster." Because I'm 20 years old, and most people my age, they don't do this type of stuff. They're out buying cars that are off the dealership. And he goes, "Just what you're doing is gangster." Well, the name, we threw around the name forever. Well, the song Kevin Gates came on right after he said that. And Kevin Gates, John Gotti, and it just stuck. So we've had that name on it forever now.
Yeah, remember how long? Guess I always been this way, running 90 miles a minute all night and day, doing things that'd kill a lesser man or get him locked up tight. Never meant to hurt nobody, no I ain't like that, just trying to make my way any way I can. There's a lot of folks out there wanna slow me down, make me act right.